Hi, I'm Joe, and today I finally have the video that I've been teasing for almost 2 months. Here, this may look a little bit familiar because it is the Creator 3-in-1 Haunted Mansion, set number 31167, and this is actually just the A model of the build as the instructions tell you how to build it. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because this has been covered many times before. We have a gate here, which is separate from the rest of the building. We have 5 minifigures, a ghost, a scary lady, Frankenstein, a skeleton, and over here in the corner we've got a werewolf. Some of the other features of the haunted house are this little graveyard here, this scary looking tree here. We kind of see a ghost in the window and a whole bunch of other boarded up windows. And right now, this is as big of a facade as this house can have, but it does fold up to display differently if you want it to, and actually closes all the way up. If we turn it around here, to the back, you can see we can actually clip it together so that it stays closed for moving things around if you want it to. And again, more boarded up windows. And then a few more interesting things here in the back. I'll go ahead and open it up. There's very little interior here. Down on the ground floor, you've got a couple of printed tiles to hang on the wall. You've got this table with some hats on it. I'm not sure what that's supposed to represent. There's nothing here in this little alcove. Over here, we've got a grandfather clock, and it has a neat little plate feature where you can turn this knob and it makes the pendulum swing. Up on the upper floor, you've got a pipe organ, a very small one, and some candles. And then the other play feature, which is here in the other alcove, which maybe we should look at that from the outside, because we saw a ghost in the window here, but this knob here can switch between a ghost and a red gem. But this model you've probably already seen. I'm certainly not the first person to show this to everyone who's watching this video. But some of you watching this video probably know that I bought 3 copies of this set. So what happened to the other 2 copies? Well, let's go look and see if they're on one of my Lego shelves. If we look here on this Lego shelf with books on it, we'll see my MOC is the Haunted Book Nook. This is made out of 2 copies of set number 31167, The Haunted Mansion, and I have made it into a slightly wider than normal book nook, and it's made with just those 2 Lego sets. And I did add one little feature. I swiped a light brick from one of the Ghost gift with purchase sets and put it in the top. As you can see, the book nook kind of sticks out pretty far from the other scary books here, but I wanted to get as much detail as I could. It also is a little bit wider. That was necessitated by the types of parts included. And it is rather dark there in the back to be able to see, but why don't we go ahead and get this thing out and get a closer look at it. So here we have the book nook, a little bit easier to see, even if it is outside its natural habitat. And I will say this is a MOC. This is something that I created with no instructions. I just dumped all the parts and started putting things together. However, I did preserve some of the mini builds from the original model. Like you can probably see right away, the tree there is almost exactly the same as the tree over here. And the graveyard I've kind of preserved, and we'll see more things that look familiar in just a minute. And in this case, though, I made the gate part of the full build. And from what I know about book nooks, now I've done some rubricable book nooks before, and I've seen the official Lego book nooks. The ideal width is somewhere between 12 and 16 studs. And I really tried to keep within that. However, there are 10 stud wide octagonal bricks in this particular set. You can kind of see on the base there, which necessitated going just a little bit bigger, but I don't mind. I think it makes a better model. So I went with 10 studs on each side and tried to build parts of the building so that there'd be like a little bit of an alleyway, as though you were going down some type of corridor between 2 buildings. Although you can probably see at the back, it's open and there's an organ and the clock. Again, those should look familiar. So it is kind of paradoxical in that it looks like you're looking at the outside of the building from the sides, but looking into the building in the back. I really just wanted to make a model that if it folded up like this, that you could see all the main features on one side, because I did not do a whole lot to the sides to make them pretty. I just wanted to make it look good from the front and down the middle. So when I got those 2 extra sets, I didn't really have anything in mind. I was just hoping something would come up in Rebrickable, but I saw all those hinged pieces with the way that the original model folds up so nice and easy, and thought that with my prior experience with book nooks, that might be something I could try. And just like those other book nooks, this one opens up rather easily into, I think, a pretty nice display, even if it can't display very easily on a Lego shelf with books on it. I'll just start going around the side here, starting with the aforementioned tree. And then, because I had plenty of these brown snot bricks left over, I didn't use them for anything in very many places. I went ahead and threw some extra eyeballs on there because why not? It looks creepy. I boarded up some windows just like the original model. Had our skeleton friend hang off. We've got the Frankenstein monster here, a pumpkin just hanging out by the front porch. And our front porch shows the door with one of those lock tiles on it. There's nothing behind the door. I did try to put a few things behind the windows. It's hard to see. Like there's one of those portraits, one of those printed tiles. Over here, you can kind of see a gem on display. And then you've got a bat and some twigs and another boarded up window. Here in the middle is one of my favorite little additions. Is I upscaled the organ, and I only had a total of 4 of these little grate pieces here, so I had to be a little bit imaginative for the second row. But I'm used to the organ that my grandparents had when I was little, had 2 rows of keys, so I thought I would try to make an organ with 2 rows of keys. Plus I expanded the original model's organ from 4 to 6 wide and just added some more of those pearl gold pieces to make it look like the knobs that control parts of the organ, and added more pipes. And then down on the bottom, we've got another portrait here, and I went ahead and maintained the pendulum swinging feature. And I have to say, I created myself a little problem by putting this little tile here, because as you can see on the other side, the way I had it fold up, the bricks here go up against the sides of those bricks, and the book nook would not have closed all the way, except over here, I left a little cutout on the side, or I left a little bit of a gap so it can close without smashing down on that tile. Finishing off the center, we have the roof, and trying to make the best use I could out of these black pieces, and again, added some more eyeballs. Then moving over here to the last tower of the building. You can't see anything through that window, but if we look through this window, I again tried to set up a tile that you could see, just one of those printed tiles again, so you can see it through the window, although it's hard to see through the ghost. But we had a ton of these clear pieces that I didn't really use for anything. I think those are used to make the ghost train B model float, and they're just hidden within the build in the main model. So I just use them to make the ghost float. Then here on the side, I've got a lantern and a bone. The set comes with more than enough snot bricks and bricks with clips on the side to attach things like that. Here's another one with a torch. And then up here, we have the same mechanism that shows the ghost, except this time I have a flame instead of the jewel like the original model had. But I have the same function there so that you can switch it to have ghost eyes, which I felt was more appropriate to have the ghost looking out over the cemetery where I've got the Wolfman standing. And I just kind of upsized the cemetery here. This was a little bit of a cheat. I was kind of running out of ways to extend the building, because I did want to have the cemetery. I wanted to have the ghost looking out over it. But I also started to get worried I was going to run out of sand green bricks. By the time I was done, it turns out I probably had plenty to extend the building out even further, but I've already oversized this book nook quite a bit. So I thought it was just as well to leave it like that, and having a larger graveyard in something that's supposed to be spooky, I think is fine. Oh yeah, one last bit here on the roof. I put one of the clock tiles. Of course, since I was building with 2 extra sets, I had 2 of these tiles, since one of them's here on the clock, and I had an extra. Out here by the front gate, I used one of the extra skeleton legs here to hold the lantern. I thought that would make it just a little bit extra spooky, and put a pumpkin here. And you can see, if I didn't mention it before, the way I've got these octagonal pieces so that they can fit into each other nice and easily. And if you want to ensure that it stays closed, you can move the chain so it's across the 2 gates, and it will keep the book nook closed. So one of the things that I complained about most when LEGO started making book nooks, and when I noticed with those rebrickable book nooks, is that you can't see deep inside when it's closed up. So for this one, I borrowed the red light brick from the 2025 Ghost Gift with Purchase and put it in this tower, and set this up so that when I press it down, it shines the red light right down through the hole in that octagonal brick onto the spooky organ. Let's try it with a little less light, and I think it shines down pretty well. And if we want to see this with even less light, in fact, you can kind of see the ghost there glowing in the dark here on the shelf. And we press down and the red looks pretty bright, although it is only lighting up the organ and not the rest of the book nook. Speaking of the Ghost Gift with Purchase, which I harvested for its organs, in this case the red light brick, here it is. There's not a whole lot to it. It's a pretty simple build. It was free with purchases of $120 from September 28th through October 7th, I believe. I'm not sure when this video is going to publish. The gift with purchase might still be ongoing when this goes live, but it just has a function where you press a lever in the back and the red light brick lights up its eyes and mouth. But since I needed a red light brick for my book nook, I have a second ghost here, and I happen to have a spare regular light brick, and I put that into this ghost, and I think I might actually like it a little bit better. I don't know. What do you think? Thanks for stopping by to check out my video about my mock Halloween book nook. I had a lot of fun doing this. It took me forever to get the time to actually do it, but like I found with my first experience of doing a large mock based on a Creator 3-in-1 set, the Surfboard Pizza Shop, once I had all the pieces separated, it was just a matter of starting to build and see what I could build in the space that I had. And I really like how this came out. And I still like the original model. And in case you wondered, yes, the model is priced rather high at $90. I got mine at $68 at Costco during the brief time it was on sale. But I do have to say that my experiences building this mock showed me that there are actually a lot of large pieces in this set. I'm not ready to completely justify the $90 cost, but I will say there's not a whole lot of 1x1 plates and studs and small pieces in here. These are mostly sand green masonry bricks, the dark tan masonry bricks, the gray columns, and lots of large pieces otherwise, like the octagonal plates. Plus there's great minifigures. But also all of those large pieces made it a little bit easier to build a mock because it doesn't take as many pieces to build everything up. Like I said before, I probably had enough pieces to make the building go a little bit farther out on one side, but I like it the way it turned out. And as much as I like it, whether it's this year or down the road, I am going to take all these haunted house pieces apart. And there is a rebrickable mock I want to build that uses all 3 copies of the set. And I want to give that a try. Don't know if I'll get to that this year or not. But I still have other Halloween projects in the works, and I can't wait to share them with you. But until then, remember, today is a good day to build.